Is it working? And now is it working?
I don't know, I'm looking.
I'm looking right now.
EsportsCenter.
Yeah,
EsportsCenter.
yeah, it's working.
I don't know. All I see on their thing is just like the string test.
Yeah, dude, cause check.
Link the string.
I'm linking this stream.
Okay.
There. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you
There we go. Okay.
go.
So, everyone who's watching, welcome to EsportsCenter, where we are discussing the different happenings around the world of esports. So, electronic gaming, mainly focusing on StarCraft and League Legends. So, I'm Chris Okamura, better known as Kid Liquid in the StarCraft community, and
And I'm James Leperio, known as Genre GTR in the law community.
okay, so we'll be covering our different sports, so to speak. Um, I little facts about us. I play Zerg for StarCraft, and when I do play League of Legends, I do play Caitlyn.
And when I play League of Legends, I usually play AD carries, but I can play anything. And if I do play StarCraft, I play Zerg. So
I love is like, just like I can play anything. It's totally fine.
well, that's true. I can play anything.
I
I learned every position.
All right, so for the time being, you guys, if you guys want to check out some live matches going on, NASL North American Star League is going on right now as we speak.
And
Um,
also, the TSM second weekly invitational is going on right now. It's their final game, best of three series. So, yeah.
all right, so other than that, you guys can sit here, relax, chill with us, and yeah. So we'll go over the basic events of what happened the last couple weeks, and we're gonna start with MLG Anaheim. So James, you want to start that off real quick?
Sure. MLG Anaheim started in June 8th, and then it went throughout the whole weekend until June 10th. It's located in Anaheim, California. And for the League of Legends scene, it was from the top 19 teams invited from the American and European scenes. European scenes. Uh, CLG, Dignitas, and TSM were fighting for the top positions. CLG lost their first game against TSM, made them go back to the loser bracket. Same thing with Dignitas. And CLG swept the series against Dignitas to have a second chance against TSM, where TSM beat CLG NA again with a series for 2-1. So the final standings were TSM first place, CLG NA second, Dignitas third, and Team Dynamic fourth place.
Okay. And for the StarCraft 2 side, there was actually quite a bit going on for the StarCraft 2 side. We had 160 players. The breakdown, according to Wikipedia, was 53 Protoss, 55 Terran, 51 Zerg, and 1 random player. Um, Again, the pool play players were set through the arena and through previous qualifications, and the rest were thrown in the open bracket. Your open bracket players were Puma, Alive, Rain, JYP, Golden, Thorzane, Oz, and Sase. Now, you know, usually it's hard coming out. It's one of the toughest open brackets to come out of. Again, MLGs are always more of like a marathon or marathon than anything else. So we had two sides of the story coming out of open bracket players. We had E.G. Puma coming out 4-0 or 4-1 actually in his group, and we had players like Thorzane going 1-5 or 1-4 and that kind of stuff. So I mean we had both ends of the spectrum. So coming off out of pool play were Puma, Marine King, Stefano, and Dongregu, right? So again, looking at that, it set up the championship losers bracket. Coming through the championship losers bracket was Sase, Polt, Alicia, and Nenori. We had DRG taking out NKP and destroying Alicia in the grand finals, taking home the $25,000 grand prize. If you're gonna watch some of those games, I would highly suggest the DRG MKP series instead of the Alicia DRG series. I mean, the grand finals were the grand finals, but I would say the DRG MKP series was highly more competitive. Now, on a side note, for anyone that didn't know, KESPA stands for Korean Esports Association. and they're the governing body of esports in Korea, in South Korea, not North Korea. North Korea is communist, but but in South Korea. So the thing is with them is they were always a Brood War, mainly a Brood War team or a Brood War leagues and that kind of stuff. So they're finally switching over to StarCraft 2, or starting to at least. So you're starting to see those legendary kind of names, if you followed the Brood War scene at all, start to creep up into StarCraft 2 with the new Dual League Pro League, which we'll go over later on. Um, so we had 10 invited Kespa players. We had Stork, Bisu, Calm, Flash, Leda, Fantasy, Soulkey, and Jaedong. Flash destroyed, Stork earlier on. Ended up 2-0ing Soulkey in the semis, and then it set up for Bisu and Jaedong in the semis as well, where Bisu took out Jaedong 2-1. And of course, so then set up Flash and Bisu for the finals, which when does it never come out down to those two when they're in a tournament? It's so Flash ended up winning 2-0. And the thing with that series that ended up being the deciding factor was Bisu was playing more of a StarCraft 1 Brood War kind of style of play, while Flash was playing a little bit of a StarCraft 1 style, but you could see the learning process of learning StarCraft 2. So I mean, we'll get into more of that later, but I mean, it was a huge factor. And then also as a side note, we had well, not really a side note, but we had the StarCraft World Championship USA Nationals, 30 grand prize pool, 64 players. The top 16 players, I think, get a free ride to the North American Championships, and then that sets up for the World Championships that Blizzard is holding instead of holding BlizzCon this year. So anyone that was planning to go to BlizzCon that didn't know, Blizzard did forego BlizzCon to focus more on the esports scene and make a World Championship in Shanghai, or no, Beijing. It's somewhere in China. That's all I know. So it ended up Vibe taking out Daisuke in a 2-0 win. So we have a long list of players going to the North American Championships that qualified. We have Vibe, Daisuke, Inseer, Idra, Hello Kitty, Illusion, Mystic, Ragin did, Fizzy here, Gozwalk, Hawk, Noni, Perfect, State, Supply, and the Geonis. They all get paid trips to the North American Championships. Takes place on August 24th to the 26th. We'll have more information about that later on in the show, but that's all we got for now. And also, a fun fact to know, at MLG Anaheim as well, they also were showing off pretty much the final version, or the final build for right now of what they have for Heart of the Swarm. So, I mean, we'll talk about that a little bit more later as well. And that leads us right into DreamHack, I guess.
Okay, yeah. DreamHack happened in June 16th to 19th. It's located in Sweden. For the LoL community, it was a European team based only. It was a bring your own computer event for the qualifying stages, where 64 teams participated, where only 8 will be able to go to the main stages. Once the qualifiers happened, they set up the 8 teams into 2 groups. Group A consisted of Curse EU, Fnatic Raid Call, Millennium, and PA, which was a mixture of, I think it was Cypher and Navi. They just made a collaboration. I guess it was a last minute kind of thing for them. Group B, it consisted of CLG EU, Moscow 5, Absolute Legends, and this new English team that these minions. For the Group B, everyone considered it as the harder group to play in because CLG EU, M5, and Absolute Legends were competing in that group, which are like probably the 3 biggest teams in the EU scene right now. The probably most exciting match to watch during DreamHack 2012 was the CLG EU versus M5 in group finals. CLG EU pulled off the biggest comeback in LoL history. The game lasted around 66 minutes, and they were behind around like 30k gold. And then that one slip up that M5 did had CLG EU to Baron and just went all the way to the Nexus, because at that time, freaking one death would last you like 2 minutes on your death timer. But that was just for the group finals. So if you want to watch that game, it should be there up in YouTube. It's like the biggest thing talked about right now in the LoL community. So that leads us into the semifinals. M5 had to go against Curse EU in the semifinals. M5 swept that series. CLG EU went to go against Fnatic Recall, and then CLG EU swept that series. So now again, CLG EU had to go against M5, thinking M5 seeking revenge on them for that long, long game. But to M5's more quick and counter jungling techniques, CLGEU were able to be more patient and composed throughout the whole match, and M5 can handle that, so CLGEU swept the series and took first place with $15,000, M5 with 10,000. Curse EU and Fnatic Recall both received 7,500 each. Now, a good thing, a real interesting thing about CLGEU is that they didn't have any money to go travel to where DreamHack was in Sweden. So what they did, they went to the LoL community, they asked fans and sponsors to fund their trip to go over there. And the real cool story is that they didn't lose a single game throughout the whole tournament. So that really impressed the LoL community and everything. And the top 3 MVPs were actually from that team, which were Wicked, Froggen, and Yellow Pete. And the rest of the MVPs came from M5's Diamond Prox and Alex each. And that leads us into StarCraft 2 for DreamHack.
Alright, so StarCraft 2 DreamHack, it was 128 players, 48 Protoss, 30 Terran, 45 Zerg, and 5 random players. And yeah, as you guys remember, the last DreamHack was DreamHack winner, and Liquid Hero did take that, beating Puma 4-3. And if you go into that series real quick, if you guys haven't seen that series at all, I would highly suggest that. That's actually one of my favorite series ever in StarCraft 2 so far. So I mean that was just an amazing series. So Hero was actually the story of pool play again. I mean, he went 9-0 in all 3 of his groups. So he won 18 straight games, didn't even drop a game. He dominated all of his games. He did eventually lose to Mana in the quarterfinals, but I mean he had a great run. And so yeah, he was just an amazing player. Or he was just hot at the time. And so we had Damaga and Mana in the finals, and Damaga was playing just as well as we've seen him lately playing, taking out Naniwa in the quarterfinals. And I mean, he was taking out a lot of players, but Mana as well. Mana took out Hero in the quarterfinals, then went on to 2-0 Stefano. So I mean, it was setting up for a really epic series, and Mana just kind of demolished Damaga. So Mana ended up taking it 3-1. But I mean, the build up to it was actually more exciting than the finals were, sadly. But I mean, it was still a great event to watch. And DreamHack's actually one of my favorite events to watch, just because it's so well done, and it's very good from a production side of it. At least for the StarCraft 2 side. I don't know about the LoL side, but I mean, it's just a very well done event.
Yeah, for the LoL side, they actually had a lot of downtime, and everyone's just getting really, really mad and irritated.
Then yes, then I guess not. Okay. So so we have another LoL event coming up right now, which was
Oh yeah, Gigabyte's Esports LAN Invitational. It was around is running alongside DreamHack, so if that you have had the downtime in DreamHack, you were probably watching ESO, because this one is composed of 8 American teams, which included CLG, TSM, this new team CLG Black, Team Dynamic, Team Green Forest, DirtNat Gaming, Curse, and MTWNA. All these games were best of 3 series, and there was 2 groups of 8. Group A consisted of Team Dynamic, CLG Black, Team Green Forest, and DirtNat Gaming. Those people were pretty like all the amateur teams mostly. Team Dynamics has actually been doing a lot lately. They've been making a name for themselves. They're actually in the solo mid national finals right now against Curse Gaming. So if you want to check them out, how they play, you can go check on the stream that I posted on the chat. For the first group, CLG Black went against Team Dynamic, where they swept the series 2-0. For the other group, it was CLG Prime versus TSM, the probably most anticipated game always to watch. And then TSM obviously won the series again,